Here we are, back in Biloxi, Mississippi, the home of the Bare Knuckle.
What's your first thought as you walk in?
It's good to be here, it's good to be back. This was my first ever Bare Knuckle fight. I didn't know what to expect the last time. I do now, so I'm able to really enjoy it. I'm able to anticipate what's coming. I'm getting ready for the storm on Saturday night.
Do you recall what went through your head the first time you stepped into the ring here in Bare Knuckle when you made your debut?
That ring, is a place where there is no financial crisis, there is no sickness, there is no badness, there's nothing. There's just you and your opponent, and may the best man win. So I truly enjoy being in there, so I look forward to being in there.
And the people love you here. Third time you're back headlining.
Yes, it's good to be back again. This is going to be my third fight, third main event, and it gets better and better every time. Yeah, at that time, you're just enjoying the moment, trying to take everything in, feed off the crowd, there's all kinds of emotion going through your mind. Your heart is pumping, you're just trying to stay calm. And at this point, you're not really thinking about the crowd anymore. You're not really thinking where you are or whether they're cheering you on or booing you. It doesn't really matter anymore. It's time.
Artem, once again, third time back in the lovely Biloxi, Mississippi. You've done something that no other fighter has done. Headline not only 3 times, but just be the main event. And like I mentioned, you are what it seems now the homecoming of Mississippi. How does that feel?
I'll be honest with you, in terms of main event or not main event, that never bothered me. I never feel extra special for being main event or less special for not being the main event. All that means to me is that I'm going to be fighting later than usual tomorrow night. I don't mind being the first fight. So I never kind of think about it that way. So it's hard for me to relate. I hear sometimes people, other fighters say, oh my God, I'm the main event, or I'm co-main event, I'm this, that, or the other. Fighting is just special to me. It is the most special thing I do. It is my favorite thing to do. But in terms of where I am on the card, that just doesn't play a part for me as long as I get to fight.
It seems that in the earlier rounds, you had strategy. You were boxing, you were coming in and out. But in the later round, I want to say around the 4th round, it seems like that kind of went off, like you guys were trading. Did your strategy change based on his style, or you just knew you were in a war at that point that you just had to give it your all?
I was just so exhausted at that point that, forget the strategy anymore. I always say, it's once you get tired, it's like having a Ferrari with no petrol. Even the Fiat Punto can overtake it. So it was a little bit like that. When you've got no juice left, you have a strategy, you've got your techniques, but your body is not responding the same way. Your brain is sending the signal to do something, but your body is just not responding. It's shutting down. It's completely exhausted. And especially in that fight, my preparation has been quite different. I was getting ready for more of a boxing fight. I was doing more rounds and longer rounds. So as a result, the tempo of my training, sparring sessions was completely different to what it was in the fight. And that's why the exhaustion set in. In my head I was thinking, right, I'm ready to do 8, 10 potentially rounds of boxing of 3 minutes, so surely I'll be okay for just 10 minutes. But no, it is completely different.
So you dropped him 3 times.
Yeah.
At that point, did you see yourself, okay, this fight should be stopped, he's ready to go? Did you see that closure coming soon after you dropped him?
Yeah, I certainly when I was connecting, and some of the shots were very clean, so I thought, okay, he's not going to get up from this now. But, he kept, to my surprise, he kept coming forward and kept getting back up and kept throwing. And to be honest, that was the reason why I got a little fatigued towards the end of the rounds, because I was throwing everything at him. I was sure that I would be able to put him away, and yet there he still was in front of me. And the problem was not solved. So I just kept throwing and kept staying in the fight. It was just crazy. It's a crazy experience. It's hard to even think what was going through my head, because there wasn't enough time for anything to go through my head. There was just punches flying everywhere. There was blood everywhere. There was knocked out teeth flying. There was sweat. There was just madness going on. It was a true chaos.
The tooth flying. Whose tooth was that?
Yeah, that was Jason.
That was Jason's?
Yeah, that was his I think one time I punched him and it just flew out, and then another time I seen him spitting it out. So I don't know. I did hear him say that only one tooth came out, but I know maybe it like chipped or something. Maybe I don't know, because I saw teeth flying everywhere.
This is already your third fight. You're not new to the sport. Is that fair to say?
That is definitely fair to say. You know, you have to remember when I was in the MMA game, striking has been my main discipline. That was my strength. And the fights that I ever lost was always due to, you know, wrestling. You know, guys take me down, laying on top, that sort of thing. So as a result, that made me train in grappling and wrestling a lot more than in striking. I barely spent any time perfecting my striking. The only time I would do striking was in sparring. So now that I actually left MMA and spent the whole year of training nothing but boxing, my striking has gone from there to here. Because I'm a guy that naturally is a striker, and now all I do is striking. The progress has been phenomenal. So I look forward to showcase that, you know, Saturday night. I truly think that I can stop Jason Knight. I thought I could have stopped him the first time, but like I said, you know, maybe the preparation had failed me because I didn't know what I was going into yet. Now, having seen it, having fought him already, having spent a year training stand-up, I feel I'll put him away quite comfortably on Saturday night.
Looking at our polls immediately after your fight with him, everyone said 70% or our polls said that you won. And but there was a lot of controversy, especially in the media. What do you think that was that they were saying that he won that fight? What do you think is it, at that point? Was it because you were expected to win? You were expected to walk through him with someone that's, you know, not known into the sport?
Maybe there's a mixture, a combination of things. You know, obviously his fans, they're always going to, you know, take his side, which is absolutely normal and
He's
the way it should
hometown.
be. Of course, yeah. But you know, in my head, I had no question in my mind that I won the fight. And as I said, with me, you don't need to worry about it. I'm willing to show up again and give him another chance. You know, how often do you get, you know, people that would be willing to do a rematch like this? Most people after a fight like that, especially they went away with the win, they wouldn't be back again. But here I am, you know, not even a year has gone past. I gave my word. I said we will do a rematch. So when the time came and they were putting all these different names in front of me, I said, listen, this is my last fight on my contract. I made a promise to Jason. Let's get it done.
Jason, here we are again, back at the Coliseum. You were here back in April. You're back now again to fight the same opponent who gave you a hell of a war. What's going through your head walking in again?
I'm excited, man. You know, I live about an hour from here, so I'm no stranger to the Coliseum. You know, I've seen a lot of MMA shows here, a lot of great shows here, and I'm excited to, you know, come back and perform in front of all my fans. Doesn't really matter the opponent, but I'm glad it's Artem.
Every time you fight, people show up for you, huh?
Yeah, man, I've been fighting down here on the coast since I was 15, 16 years old. And, you know, I gained a pretty big following before I ever made it to the big show. But now, you know, it's getting even better.
Now even more after the first fight, huh?
Yeah, for sure. You know, we put on a war back in April. And, you know, I'm excited to be back again.
Here you are again.
Too bad they got this place covered up with ice. We got to go next door. But, you know, I had a lot of fun in here that night.
Back in April 6th, this place was packed.
Yeah, man.
Full house, sold out.
We, you know, we definitely put on a great showing that night. A lot of Jason Knight fans showed up. A lot of, you know, chants for USA, and very, very few for Artem and Ireland.
You know, what goes through your head just putting your first steps here again?
You know, the last fight I didn't quite close the show. I didn't get him out of there the way that I wanted to. This time I'm going to make sure that I finish him and put an exclamation mark on it. I thought for sure that I would knock him out, that I was going to be tougher than he was, that I could take more than he did. But, you know, that wasn't the case. He was just as tough as I was. He took just as much punishment as I did. And, you know, I'm going to bring that into this next fight.
Now, speaking with Artem, he still believes the fight should have been stopped when he dropped you 3 times.
Yeah, Artem's crazy. He was, you know, he was smoking something that night that he shouldn't have been smoking. If that's the case, you know, in the 5th round, going into the 5th round when he could barely get off the stool, they should have stopped the fight. You know, we both got caught a few times in that fight, and of course, we were both hurt pretty badly at times. But if you go back and you watch you watch the Road to Artem Lobov, Jason Knight 2, he even says going into that fifth round, as soon as the fourth round was over, he goes into his corner, he's like, man, I'm glad that fight was over. Going into the fourth round, in between fourth and fifth round, I was amped up, ready to go for the next round. I could have won another 5 rounds if I needed to. By that time I had caught my second win. I was ready to fight. I didn't care about the cuts, the bleeding, none of that. All I wanted to do was put Artem away, and all he wanted to do was get this last round over with, so that way he's out of this fight. I would have been comfortable staying there.
Yeah, luckily for us, that fight wasn't stopped, and we witnessed, fight of the year. Not only that, but that fight is what I consider that, from the bare knuckle perspective, moved us to the next plateau. It put bare knuckle into a spotlight. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree. Me and Artem, we helped put bare knuckle on the map, and I believe that we're getting the recognition for that, and I believe that going on forward, we're going to stay at the top of this promotion, and hopefully I'll be one of the forerunners to help this place, help this promotion grow. Looking back on the time whenever he said that the fight should have been stopped, man, if the referee would have stopped that fight without me being unconscious, you would have seen 2 fights that night. I would have had to fight the referee, and that's the same way it's going to be this weekend. If I'm not asleep, whoever is my referee, they better not stop that fight, because you can see very clearly that I'll take some damage, I'll take some punishment. Every time I get knocked down, I'm getting back up. And if the referee decides he wants to stop the fight early, he's going to have problems. I knew that if I didn't have a decisive win, then I was not going to get my hand raised. But I have an opportunity to correct that. I have an opportunity to right that wrong. And Saturday night, that's exactly what I plan on doing. I'm going to go out there, and I am going to walk away victorious.